Nothing disappoints me more as a Toronto realtor than when I see a completely misleading listing. I was browsing for a specific client and I saw this completely misleading listing. Matter of fact, if I recall correctly, I think this is a listing that my client sent to me, and really I've been meaning to make a video like this, you know, when I have come across other listings that I know from first-hand experience, knowing the building or the unit type, knowing the area, that I know firsthand are misleading, but I just never got around to it. But this one maybe caught me in a bad day, and it was just so egregious, I thought, to take you step by step and show you why this is a misleading listing. And really, this is a practice that the Toronto Real Estate Board, the Real Estate Council of Ontario should take more seriously, because I see it all the time with certain other listings as well. Let's start. Let me show you exactly what I'm referring to here. So I get sent this listing for sale from my client wanting feedback. Usually when I work with buyers, it's a two-way street. I send them things with my thoughts. I always tell my clients, send me whatever you see so I can give you context feedback. If I like the building, if I dislike the building, anything I think you need to know. And at face value, it seems like a pretty decent listing. Price is good. It's a one bed, one wash. The building is great. I've made a video on this building in the past. I really like the building. And you know, as you go through the images, I'm not going to name the building, but if you should know what it is from this channel, I've talked about it many times. Pictures of the lobby, and this is the picture of the unit. You have the living space here, the TV, the couch, the coffee table. For the small square footage, as you see, it has a functional layout. It is miniature in size. This would show much smaller in person. It's in the low 500s, but everything so far for what you're getting in terms of square footage looks good. They fit a lot in a small space. You have somewhat of a proper kitchen with a mini island here. Higher ceilings than you would normally have in a unit of this size, pot lights, really bright, nice unit. Now, what have you seen thus far as a common denominator from all these photos? Let's go rewind to the first photo. We see the TV, we see the couch, we see, oh, we don't see the window, we see the blinds down. Of course, you know, who takes note of that? If you're not a Toronto real estate agent, such as myself, who knows the buildings inside and out, I mean, I've literally made a review of this building, you wouldn't make anything of that. The other photo before that, once again, you see the living room, but the blinds are still down. I wonder why. Interesting. As you go along in the photos, here's the POV from the kitchen side. Once again, in the bedroom, the blinds are down. And literally the next picture is just another picture of the bedroom. Good custom closet, the laundry, the front door, and then we go back to random pictures of the mailboxes and outside the building. And yeah, let's skip that. And some of the, you know, common amenities. If you're a buyer out there, such as my client, you don't take note of anything wrong with that listing. Well, let me tell you, when I made a review of that building and in talking about that building, I say it's a really good building with one caveat. Certain units are gonna have completely obstructed views. And if you notice, that listing showed zero of that obstruction. But why talk about it? Let me show you exactly what that unit faces that you did not see in the listing. So let's take a look at this listing. This is the same exact unit. It's the same exact floor plan. Everything about this unit, the floor plan, where the washroom is, where the kitchen is, the square footage, the size is the exact same. The only difference is the finishes and the floor height. This is actually 23 or so floors higher, because in buildings, as I've said many times, 95% of the time when the units end with the same last two digits, they're the same exact unit. So anyways, this is the same exact replica of a unit, and we see it in the pictures once again, clearly evidenced. The same layout, the island placement is the same, the finishes are different, and we see another example of that. And even in this listing, they were trying to hide the view, but here they really can't hide it. Now you see through these old school blinds in this exact replica unit that is directly facing nose to nose another building that's adjacent to this building. You can barely maybe see it right here. If I zoom in a bit, maybe you can see a bit better, but you can see that through the blinds, you see brick, concrete. This listing, which is the exact same unit, was actually transparent, figuratively and literally. This is another replica unit of the same exact floor plan, and you see this is facing another building, evident here once again. And this is the view from the kitchen, evident here once again. So for this unit, which is about 20 floors lower, it's absolutely not a coincidence that the blinds are down in every single photo. And you might be saying, you're making a big deal about this. It's not as if, you know, it's grossly misleading. Well, you know what? That's for you to determine. But I know it's not a coincidence, as I said just now, that every single photo there is, the blinds are down, not a coincidence. Secondly, if I didn't know this and my client was working with someone who doesn't know the buildings as quite well as I do, and let's say my client was very sensitive to exposure, which a lot of buyers are, I would say 7 out of 10 buyers, not all buyers, some buyers, to be fair, really couldn't care less about the view and the exposure. I've had a lot of buyers say, listen, I don't need no sun, I live like a vampire, I just want a large unit in a good building or this and that, but view is not important. Well, maybe 3-4 out of buyers are like that in my experience, but 6 to 7 buyers out of 10, that would be a deal breaker for them. I can tell you that firsthand. And if I didn't know, and my client didn't know, because you're not expected to know, that's why you work with professionals, we would waste our time going to that unit to see it, to pull up the blinds to see, oh, this doesn't work for us. Now, listen, I'm not putting the onus on buyer's agents, right? Buyer's agents sometimes make mistakes. Sometimes they don't know every single building. And I even don't know every single building. I learn every single day. So the onus isn't on us to catch it. If we can catch it, fantastic. And I'm happy to catch a lot of stuff for my clients. The onus is on the listing side to give a fair and accurate representation of the product they're looking to sell. And that's just one example. I've seen countless examples of this. Not just in this building, in other buildings as well. And not always the blinds down when it's looking onto something unseemly, but occasionally they'll get a great, fantastic view of the balcony and leave out the fact that there is literally a crane if you look down. If you go in person and look down, there's a crane, there's a construction site coming. Once again, like, we as buyer's agents cannot be expected to catch it every single time. We make mistakes, slips of the mind. We learn new buildings, new areas all the time. But the listing side, the selling side, has to do a better job of fairly representing their listings.